All right, so if you've ever tried to learn a new language, you probably know the drill, right? Memorize, repeat, and then forget. But what if there's a totally different way to do it? Well, today, we're going to dig into a really interesting approach to fluency, one that's built not so much on repetition, but on something way more powerful: curiosity.
So, this whole new method really boils down to one simple but huge distinction. You see, on one side, we've got the old way, learning English for no apparent purpose. It's that feeling of it just being a chore. And then on the other side, you have applied English. This is where the language suddenly becomes a tool, a key to unlock topics and ideas that you actually care about.
Okay, so before we jump into the solution, let's really unpack the problem here. I mean, why is it that so many of us get frustrated and just give up on learning English?
You know the feeling, I'm sure. You're just staring at some old, dusty textbook, drilling vocabulary words that feel like they have absolutely zero connection to your actual life. It's a method that just sucks the fun out of it and turns learning into, well, just another tedious chore. And that feeling, that sense that it's all kind of pointless, that's where motivation just goes to die, right? You're putting in all this time and effort, but it never seems to lead to real, meaningful conversations or that feeling of satisfaction. And that exact frustration is what this whole applied English philosophy is all about fixing. So, what's the alternative then? Let's dive into the philosophy of applied English and see how it completely flips that old traditional model on its head.
See, the goal here is completely different. It's not about memorizing rules to pass some tests. No, it's about giving you a key, using English to unlock fascinating subjects and explore the world based on what you personally are curious about. It's a total game changer.
And their motto really says it all. Think deeply, speak fluently. What's so interesting is the order there, right? The thinking comes first. The whole idea is that if you get your brain engaged with interesting, complex ideas, fluency isn't something you have to struggle for. It just becomes the natural result. So if we break it down, these are the core principles. It's all designed for the curious mind. It's about using English to explore, to spark your own critical thinking. And the most important word here is apply. You're applying the language, actively using it, not just sitting back and drilling it.
Okay, so that's the philosophy, that's the big idea. But how does this actually work in the real world? How do you really learn through discovery?
This really sums up the whole shift perfectly. You're trading in those dusty old textbooks for what they call an adventure of discovery. And instead of just drilling random vocabulary lists, you're applying big ideas in a way that's genuinely stimulating.
And that adventure is really fueled by the kinds of topics we're talking about. We're not talking about those bland, boring textbook dialogues. No, you're diving into things like cutting-edge science, the power of psychology, the world of art. I mean, these are subjects that naturally make you use more complex language and think more deeply, which pushes your skills forward without you even realizing it.
The learning process itself is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. It all starts with a fascinating idea, something that really grabs your attention. From there, that genuine interest just naturally sparks a real discussion. And it's right there, in the middle of that conversation, that you start using new words and phrases. Because for once, you actually have something you really want to say. And get this, it's designed for how we actually live our lives today. We're talking short, easy-to-digest pieces of learning. No more long, boring lectures.
The whole idea is that each bit of content is short but impactful. So you can just slot it into your day, maybe on your coffee break or during your commute. It makes learning feel, well, achievable, you know? Not like this huge, overwhelming task.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. How does this unique approach actually get you to that ultimate goal we're all after? Real, confident fluency.
You know, this whole philosophy really comes down to two things, two powerful engines: curiosity and engagement. Think about it. When you are genuinely curious about something, you can't help but be engaged. And that combo creates this incredible learning cycle that is just so much more effective than trying to memorize a bunch of rules from a book.
And this is the really cool part, the ultimate promise. Fluency stops feeling like this constant uphill battle. Instead, it becomes the delightful result of just doing something you actually enjoy. You get so wrapped up in exploring these cool ideas that your language skills just kind of improve on their own, almost like a happy side effect.
So, why does all this matter? Well, because it completely reframes the entire goal. You're not just learning a language anymore, you're actually gaining a powerful tool to unlock your own potential, to think more critically, and to connect with the world and other people on a way, way deeper level. Which kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about for your own learning journey. What if our own curiosity is the single most powerful and maybe the most overlooked tool we have for becoming fluent? It's a pretty compelling thought, isn't it?